Welcome to the SBR Super Bowl preview, and for this one I put together a veritable brain trust of guests to discuss the relevant topics concerning the side and the total for the Super Bowl. I'm very excited to see what they have to say. First of all, we've got once again SBR moderator and professional sports bettor Justin Seven, who's been doing previews for SBR.TV all throughout the playoffs, giving us some invaluable information, not to mention good leans and picks. Justin?
Thanks for having me, Peter.
We're also going to be joined by SBR contributing betting analyst Bob Harvey. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Peter, it's my pleasure. Great to be here.
And to round things out, we've also got the reasonably well-respected SBR poster, Vegas Dave. Vegas Dave, thanks for being here.
Well, I'd say I'm about as reasonably well-respected as the Detroit Lions here at SBR, but thanks for having me, Peter.
No, I'd say you're about as respected as much as Arizona, which may not actually be that great, but that's what we're here to talk about, so let's get right down to it. Super Bowl 43, here we go. Pittsburgh is a 7-point favorite over the Arizona Cardinals, and the game's being played in Tampa, Florida, totals at 46.5. And once again, this game sort of has a can they really do it? Can they really win this game kind of feel to it, just like last year, except last year it was, of course, because New England was so invincible, and this year it's a bit because people see Arizona as not really being worthy of a Super Bowl team. So let's get right down to it. The first big issue that everyone wants to figure out is Arizona's dramatic improvement in the playoffs real or a mirage? Let's start with you, Justin Seven, because in our previews recently throughout these playoffs, you've been saying that you think that Arizona's improvements have mostly been due to luck, and they're more of a mirage than they are a matter of any sort of legitimate improvement on Arizona's part. Now they're in the Super Bowl. Do you still feel that way, Justin?
I don't think their defense has really gotten that better. They've had a lot of breaks in regards to turnover. Where they've really improved, though, is offensively. When they have both Edgar and James and Hoden in, however you say his name, Hoden in the lineup, they're about 60 yards a game better than when they are missing one or the other or both of those players. And when I looked at that translates into almost a full touchdown better than when they're missing one of them.
Okay, Bob Harvey, what do you make of Arizona's improvements in the playoffs, real or mirage?
Well, this time of year, when you get a team that is hot, then I think you have to say that it's real. Now, what they did during the regular season, 9-7 record, then what they did in the playoffs, what is real and what is a mirage? Which is the real Arizona team? I say it was the team that was 9-7 during the regular season. However, much like the Giants last year, Arizona has gotten hot at the right time. So I don't think you can discount the football team that they are right now and will be on the Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay, well, what I've been reading a lot about the Arizona defense and their improvements is that maybe they were underachieving during the year, and that the reason they've been so much better of late is because they're kind of playing faster and hitting harder now. Is that the kind of improvement that a defense can make in the middle of the year, a legitimate one, that they just don't really have an upgrade in talent, but they sort of start playing harder, and that inspires a team-wide, that causes a team-wide improvement on defense? And if so, is that what you think has happened with the Arizona Cardinals in the playoffs here?
I would have said yes to that after the first half of the NFC Championship game, but when Donovan McNabb lit him up for 3 touchdowns in the second half, I don't think the defense really has improved that much. But Pittsburgh's offense doesn't really have much except for Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not sold on Willie Parker, so I think they'll have enough defense on Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay, Vegas Dave, you want to weigh in on this? Arizona's improvement, real or mirage?
I'd say it's a mirage more than anything. I don't want to take anything away from the Arizona defense, but you look at each game individually. Bertrand Berry said after the game that Matt Ryan never changed his snap count on any given play. He always had the exact same snap count. That's why Arizona was doing such a great job jumping the play, and they jumped off sides a few times. A couple of times they weren't called for those offsides. But you could see that they clearly had a good feel for that Atlanta game because of the fact that Matt Ryan just wasn't changing the snap count at all. And then you look at the Carolina game, and yes, you have to give Arizona credit for forcing those turnovers, but it also looked a lot to me like Delhomme was showing either signs of rust from the week off or whatever it was, he wasn't on his game because the early fumble and the early 2 interceptions completely knocked Carolina out of that game, and Carolina relies on running the football a lot to open up their passing game, and when they were in such a huge hole early, they had to give up on their running game, and it was pretty clear that they were going to have to be passing the football a lot in the second half. So both of those games, you can kind of make an excuse as to why Arizona's defense was so strong, and then of course in the Philadelphia game, they gave up 454 184 total yards.
Okay, so let's get a bit of an official tally here. Let's take a vote. Everyone weigh in. Arizona's improvement, real or mirage? Justin 7?
It's half mirage. Defense is a mirage, offense is real.
Okay, Bob Harvey?
I'm going to say real.
Vegas Dave?
Oh, it's a bit of a cop-out by Justin, but I guess I'll say mirage to keep it 50-50.
Okay, and I'm going to weigh in with real, but I will say that even if it is real, that doesn't necessarily mean that Arizona is going to excel in either area because their improvements do play into Pittsburgh's strengths. Okay, guys, now I want to get your take on an interesting topic that actually popped up in the NFL handicapping section on SBR Forum. Everyone's obviously talking about the Arizona offense. Kurt Warner, Larry Fitzgerald, how awesome are they? Are they going to be able to overpower Pittsburgh's awesome defense? But there was a very interesting thread started by the poster Chai Archie called Arizona Winning Factors in the NFL capping section at SBR Forum. And he points out that statistically, there's a much higher correlation between Arizona having success when they run the ball well as opposed to when Larry Fitzgerald has a big passing game. And here are the stats that he cites. Arizona's only 3-4 when Larry Fitzgerald has over 100 yards. They're 6-3 when he has under 100 yards. Fitzgerald averages about the same amount of yardage in Arizona's wins and losses, but in Arizona's wins, they run for almost twice as many yards as they do in their losses. And in the playoffs, as you might expect, they've been averaging over 100 yards per game. So is everyone looking at the wrong indicator here? Is the real indicator of Arizona's success their ability to run for close to 100 yards? And if so, does this loom ominously for Arizona's prospects here? Bob Harvey, we'll start with you.
My feeling is that if Arizona runs the ball against Pittsburgh, they win the game, and they win the game handily. The Pittsburgh Steelers were able to stop the Ravens' run game. However, Baltimore's run game pales in comparison, I think, to Arizona.
So do you agree with the implications of these stats that Arizona's success is more related to how many yards they gain on the ground than how big of a day Larry Fitzgerald has receiving?
Fitzgerald's success will depend on how the Arizona Cardinals run the football.
Justin 7, what do you think of this? Does Arizona need to rush for 100 yards to win?
I'm going to disagree. I think the key for them to succeed isn't necessarily to succeed at rushing, but it's to have rushing attempts. If they attempt to run the ball 20 times, even if they're only getting 2 or 2.5 yards a carry, that's going to keep Pittsburgh having to defend it. If Pittsburgh doesn't have to defend the run, if they can start a nickel defense in first down or 2nd and 8, then Arizona's going to have trouble. But as long as they keep running it, they're going to keep Pittsburgh honest.
That's interesting. So you're saying that it matters more that Arizona just runs the ball at all than that they run it well?
Yes. Football is rock, scissors, paper. And if Arizona tells Pittsburgh, we're never going to pick rock, then Pittsburgh has a much easier time to win.